What if I told you that the thing you're chasing, the promotion, the relationship, the someday when everything finally works out, doesn't exist? Not because you'll never get it, but because the moment you arrive, your mind will already be reaching for the next thing, and the next, and the next. You could win every goal you've ever set and still feel that same hollow ache in your chest because the problem was never out there. It was the habit of living somewhere other than here. Right now, while I'm speaking, some part of your mind is already checking out, thinking about the drive home, a message you need to send, something you said yesterday that still stings. That's not a flaw in you. That's what almost every human being on this planet does, every single day without ever questioning it. We have built entire lives on a foundation of absence, and today I want to hand you the one shift that ends that. Think about how many waiting rooms you've built for yourself. I'll relax once this project is done. I'll enjoy my life once I lose the weight. I'll finally be happy once I meet the right person, land the right job, fix the right flaw. Every one of those sentences is a promise you've made to a future version of yourself, a version that conveniently never actually arrives, because the moment you get there, your mind simply draws the finish line a little further away. This is the great trick of the human mind. It convinces you that peace is a prize waiting at the end of a race that has no finish line. And so you run. You run toward a future that keeps moving, and you drag along a past that keeps replaying. Meanwhile, the only thing that was ever real, this breath, this room, this exact second, passes you by unnoticed because you were too busy rehearsing a life you haven't lived yet. Here's the truth nobody tells you. You don't get a reward at the end of the waiting. There is no ceremony where life finally says, now you're allowed to be at peace. Peace was never behind a locked door waiting for the right key. It was available the entire time, in the middle of the traffic, in the pile of dishes, in the ordinary, unremarkable Tuesday you were rushing through to get to the weekend. If you can't find a moment of stillness sitting exactly where you are right now, you will not magically find it on a beach, in a bigger house, or in a version of your life with fewer problems. Because the problem was never the external scenery, it was the internal habit of always looking past what's in front of you. Now let's talk about something harder to admit. A huge amount of your suffering isn't caused by your circumstances. It's caused by your resistance to your circumstances. There's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is what happens to you. The loss, the setback, the hard conversation. Suffering is the extra layer you add on top when you insist over and over that it shouldn't be happening. Think about how much energy you spend fighting reality. The traffic that shouldn't be this bad. The person who shouldn't have said what they said. The feeling in your chest that shouldn't be there. You are in effect arguing with something that has already happened. And arguments with the past are the only kind of argument you can never win. Every time you resist what is, you tighten a knot inside yourself. You spend hours, days, sometimes years, clenched against a moment that has already passed, as though gripping it tighter will somehow rewrite it. It won't. It never has. All that gripping does is exhaust you and rob you of the energy you actually need to deal with what's in front of you now. There's another way to move through life, and it isn't passive, and it isn't giving up. It's what we might call radical acceptance. The decision to stop demanding that reality be different before you're willing to engage with it. This doesn't mean you stop trying to improve your life. It means you stop making your inner peace conditional on the outcome. You can still work hard, still want more, still strive, but you do it from a place of, I'm enough right now, instead of a place of, I'll be enough once. When you drop the resistance, something remarkable happens. All that energy you were spending on the fight comes back to you. You start to notice you have more patience, more clarity, more room to actually respond to your life instead of just reacting to it. You become like still water. Even when something disturbs the surface, you settle back into calm, because you're no longer at war with the disturbance itself. Here's the deepest layer of all this, and it's the one that changes everything once you truly understand it. You have a voice in your head that never stops talking. It comments on everything, what you should have said, what might go wrong, whether you're good enough, smart enough, doing enough. You've probably never questioned this voice because you assumed it was you. But ask yourself something simple. If you can hear that voice, who is doing the hearing? That question is the doorway to the most useful realization you will ever have. You are not the voice. You are the one who notices the voice. You are not the anxious thought. You're the awareness in which that thought appears and eventually fades. Thoughts are like weather passing through a sky. The sky doesn't get damaged by a storm, and it isn't improved by sunshine either. It simply holds space for whatever passes through it. You are the sky, not the weather. This is not a small idea. It is frankly one of the most liberating realizations available to a human being. Because once you stop believing that you are every anxious, critical, fearful thought that crosses your mind, those thoughts lose their grip on you. You can notice a thought like, I'm not good enough, and instead of collapsing into it, you can simply observe it. Ah, there's that thought again. And let it pass the same way a cloud passes across an open sky without leaving a mark. Most people spend their whole lives being dragged around by their own thinking, mistaking every worry for a fact and every fear for a prophecy. But the moment you find that quiet distance, the space between a thought and your reaction to it, you find something that no circumstance can touch. In that space, you're not fragile. You're not desperate. You're simply present, watching life unfold, no longer a hostage to every flicker of your own mind. So what do you actually get when you stop running toward the future, stop fighting the present, and stop believing every thought that shows up? You get your life back. Not a different life. This one. The one you've been rushing past. You start noticing things again. The actual taste of your food, the sound of someone's voice when they talk to you, the fact that you're breathing without having to think about it. These aren't small things. They're the entire substance of being alive. And most of us miss almost all of it because we're mentally somewhere else, negotiating with a future that hasn't happened or replaying a past that's already gone. Presence also makes you sturdier. When your sense of peace stops depending on your circumstances going a certain way, you stop being knocked over by every setback. You still feel things, disappointment, frustration, sadness. Presence isn't about numbing yourself. It's about no longer needing the world to behave a certain way before you're allowed to be okay. That's a completely different kind of strength than the kind that comes from controlling everything around you. It's the strength of someone who can be unsettled and still stay standing because their footing was never dependent on smooth ground in the first place. And here's something people rarely mention. Presence makes you better for the people around you. Think about the difference between being with someone who is actually listening to you versus someone who's nodding along while mentally drafting their grocery list. Presence is one of the rarest gifts you can give another person because almost nobody offers it anymore. When you're fully here, people feel it, even if they can't name it. You become someone who makes others feel seen, and that alone can change relationships, families, teams, entire rooms. I want to be honest with you about something. None of this becomes real just because you heard it once in a speech. Your mind has spent years, maybe decades, building the habit of living everywhere except here. That habit won't dissolve because you nodded along to a few good lines. It dissolves through practice, through catching yourself again and again, gently returning your attention to now. It looks like this. You notice you're spiraling about tomorrow, and you take one breath and ask, what's actually true right now in this second? It looks like putting your phone down and actually finishing a conversation instead of half attending to two things at once. It looks like sitting with an uncomfortable feeling for 30 seconds instead of immediately reaching for a distraction. Small, unglamorous, repeated 1,000 times, you will forget. You will get pulled back into the noise, back into the habit of narrating your life instead of living it. That's not failure. That's what practice actually looks like for every human being who's ever tried this. The goal isn't to never drift. The goal is to notice you've drifted and come back again. And then again. That coming back repeated enough times is what eventually becomes a new way of living. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Not someday, not once you've figured yourself out first, but starting the second this speech ends. Take one breath right now, just one. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the air moving in and out. That's it. That's the whole practice, and you just did it. Today, pick one moment, a meal, a walk, a conversation with someone you love, and give it your full undivided attention. No phone, no mental to-do list running underneath it. Just that one moment, fully lived instead of half noticed. And the next time you catch your mind sprinting toward I'll be okay when, stop and gently ask yourself, what if I decided I was okay right now, exactly as this moment is? Not because everything is perfect, not because there's nothing left to fix, but because you finally stopped waiting for permission to be here. You don't need a better past. You don't need a guaranteed future. You need one honest breath taken right now and the willingness to keep coming back to it every time you drift. Or stop running, stop fighting, stop waiting for the life that's supposedly coming later. It's already here, it always was. All that was ever missing was you showing up for it. Be here. That's enough. That's everything.